Hey everyone, and welcome to episode 59 of the Computer Business Marketing Show. Today's episode is brought to you by Tech Reputation. Tech Reputation offers IT business owners a simple and effective way to manage, acquire, and market their positive reviews online. In addition, the online dashboard includes the ability to enter your company details once and have it published automatically to over 60 directory and review sites and keep it updated, synchronized, and without duplication. For a 14-day free trial, visit techreputation.com/TSB for 10% off your setup and monthly subscription with a no-risk 30-day money-back guarantee. That's techreputation.com/TSB. It's also brought to you by Tech Blog Builder. Tech Blog Builder is the blog writing service for IT businesses. We craft content that converts website visitors into customers with 100% unique, SEO-ready, professionally written blog posts delivered on a consistent basis. Learn more at techblogbuilder.com. On today's episode, we have Doug Hazelman, who is the VP of Technical Marketing at Cloudberry. We're going to chat about communities and how they can help you as a business owner. What are the benefits of joining a different communities? What are the different types of communities that are out there? And how can you participate in these communities to get the maximum value out of them? We'll answer all those questions and so much more coming up right now. Hey everyone, welcome to the Computer Business Marketing Show. If you own or work in an IT services business, this is the place to learn how to get more clients, keep them happy, and grow your revenue. You can watch, download, and or subscribe to all show episodes at computerbusinessmarketing.com. You can also catch our live stream on Facebook every Thursday at 7 p.m. Eastern. Just be sure to like the Tech Site Builder Facebook page and click the following tab. Then select See First so that the live stream will jump to the top of your news feed. On today's episode, this is actually a pre-recorded episode, so we do not have the live stream for this episode, unfortunately. Actually, right now, I am away at National Guard training, the 2 weeks of National Guard that I do every year. So this year, I decided to pre-record a couple interviews and then make those available to you guys while I'm away. So this is the first one. This is an interview with Doug Hazelman, who is the VP of Technical Marketing at Cloudberry. And he's going to talk about the benefit of communities and how you can leverage communities to grow your business, get your questions answered, and build your own business and market your own business. So there's definitely a marketing angle here, but it's a lot of business development and a lot of just talking about the benefits of communities. We'll also talk about some great communities you can join and all of that good stuff. So before we do that, just want to talk about our first sponsor for this episode, and that is Tech Reputation. Tech Reputation is a way that you can easily generate more online reviews for your IT business. So the way they do that is, the first way is that it allows you to generate more positive reviews by automatically sending a message either via email or text to your customers. Using different triggers. They integrate with Zapier or they integrate with Repair Shopper or some other different products that you might be using. And anytime someone's done with service, it can automatically trigger, or you can trigger it yourself, an email that gets sent to your client asking, hey, would you like to review us? It asks, hey, did you have a good experience with us? If you say yes, great. It then takes them to the review services of your choice so that they can leave a review for you on any of those public places. Or if it is a not so good review, then it will allow you to receive those complaints first before the person would end up leaving a bad review. That way you can get back to the person and help remediate whatever issues they're having. That way you can reduce the number of negative reviews you have and then only get reviews posted if they had a good experience with you. Once you start generating those reviews, then inside Tech Reputation's dashboard, you can manage and monitor all of those reviews in one single pane of glass. You can see how you're doing. You can see if you need to increase your good reviews, or whatever. And it kind of gives you one 1,000-foot level view of how your different online reviews are doing. And then you can also get alerts when you get new reviews. So that's a great way to, if you do get a negative review, if you get a review that requires clarification, before you'd have to check all the different places yourself. Now you can get an alert through Tech Reputation, and it lets you know when you get a new review. Then you can go in and check it out, respond to it if you need to. You can do all of that through Tech Reputation. Finally, a couple other things Tech Reputation does. It allows you to see your business information online and make sure it's accurate. So all of the different places your business can be listed online, places like, Google, local, Facebook, Yelp, a bunch of different local directories, and social media directories and platforms. Your business is listed on all of those places. Tech Reputation will aggregate it all and make sure your business information is correct and accurate so that people can find you. That also has an SEO benefit for you. And the last but not least, one cool aspect of Tech Reputation, it allows you to aggregate all of your online reviews and then make those visible on your website. So we actually have an integration between Tech Reputation and Tech Site Builder so that if you join Tech Reputation, you log into your Tech Site Builder dashboard, you can connect the two, and then you could automatically have all of your online reviews feed in to your Tech Site Builder website. Tech Reputation also has integrations with lots of other platforms. So it's a great way to leverage those positive reviews. You can publish them to your website, to different social media accounts, and it makes it look nice and neat and makes it really easy. So it kind of automates all of that stuff for you. And they have been nice enough to offer the listeners of this podcast a great deal. If you go to techreputation.com/TSB, you'll be able to get 10% off not only your setup fee, but also the monthly payment that you make to Tech Reputation platform. You can get 10% off all of that, including your 15-day free trial and your 30-day money-back guarantee. So this is on top of all of the other great stuff that they offer. Just be sure to go to techreputation.com/TSB and then use the coupon code TSB10 to take advantage of that discount. We thank Tech Reputation for being a sponsor of the Computer Business Marketing Show. All right, guys, let's go ahead and jump into the featured interview for today. All right, guys, welcome to the featured interview for today's show. And for this one, I'm really excited. This is going to be an interesting topic that we're going to talk about here with Doug Hazelman, who is the VP of Technical Marketing at Cloudberry, which is the #1 cross-platform cloud backup solution. And we're going to be talking with Doug today about the benefits of communities, the different types of communities that are out there, and how being parts of communities and participating in different communities can help you grow your business, help you market your business, and have lots of different other benefits for your business. So this is going to be an interesting one. I know a lot of you guys know about this podcast because of the Facebook community and some of the other communities that are online. So you guys might know some of the benefits of communities, but we'll kind of dig into, for those of you who aren't in that Facebook group, kind of dig into some of the benefits of that and also some of the other communities that are out there that you might not know about. So, hey, Doug, welcome, and thanks for being on the show.
Great. Thanks for having me on, Matt. Pleased to be here.
Yeah, definitely great to have you. So before we kind of dig into the community side, I always love to just kind of get a little backstory and information on my guests. If you could briefly tell folks kind of where you got your start and how you ended up where you are now at Cloudberry.
Sure. So I've had a long career, I guess you could say. At least it seems long to me at some point. But started off, way back when, doing some Lotus Notes work, and then delved into consulting for a while. And then I really found the world of software startups, and found a startup that focused on Windows and Windows technologies, and had a great time there. Did that. That company ended up getting sold. Fast forward about a year later after that, I had left soon after the acquisition. But fast forward, the same founders just started up another company, this company called Veeam Software. And when I heard that they were starting up a new company, I loved the experience of the past. So decided, what, I'm gonna join this again. Have no idea what we're gonna do, how we're gonna do it, but let's try to make this thing successful. And that was over 11 years ago. And Veeam now is they're just doing great. They're going to hit over $1 billion in revenue this year. And the team and everyone else behind it is still a great team. But from my standpoint, kind of talking about that startup world, I kind of realized Veeam had way surpassed the startup, and I was out looking for some new challenges. So the founders of Veeam actually told me about Cloudberry and said, hey, there might be a fit here to help them build community around managed service providers. And the reason they thought of me for that is at Veeam, I really got involved in the community around virtualization. That was kind of the early days of Twitter when it first started off, and there were a lot of people that we all joined together on Twitter and at events and those types of things, and built a really great community of not just customers but also vendors and partners. And it just kind of gelled around this common technology. So that's kind of my charge here at Cloudberry, is to see if I can do something similar around managed service providers and the IT services business in general. So that's why I'm here today talking to you, and why I do a lot of the things that I do here at Cloudberry.
Interesting. So when you were at Veeam, was that your role, or is that just kind of something you fell into or started doing?
It's something I really fell into. When I started, I was the only pre-sales engineer at Veeam, and I built essentially got started the pre-sales engineer side, and in so doing that, that's when I kind of got involved in Twitter and going to the different events, fell into this idea of community. And it was, kind of through that, and also because I worked well with the press and with the analysts, that I did a lot of our press briefings as well as analyst briefings. So it just kind of, it was a role that I just kind of morphed into, and then, ended up building a team of, global evangelists around that type of role. So that was, there was no definition when we started off. There was no idea that that's what I was going to do. It just kind of, that's one of the things I love about startup world is, hey, you do a lot of different things, and then eventually you're going to gel into one thing and see where it takes you.
Very cool. So this whole idea of community building as a way to build a company, and also as something that you do as maybe an MSP owner or a business owner, that feels to me like it's a new thing. In your experience, has that been something that's been new, or is it just something that maybe was something that happened offline that's now coming online with social media and stuff? What has kind of been your experience of the evolution of this type of community building?
Yeah, I think, from community building and I think it's always been around, especially within the sales world. A lot of the salespeople at different companies, they all know each other. They might compete, but they still know each other. They meet at events and those types of things. But technology has definitely helped. And that's why I mentioned Twitter, because, Twitter was just kind of getting its start, getting rolling. This is before we had, tweets from presidents and those types of things. So it was in the early days. And it just so happened that a lot of the bloggers around virtualization were on Twitter. Use a couple of hashtags, and all of a sudden you find all these people that share common interest, and it was very easy to basically get involved. Now, on the MSP side, there's different areas from a technology perspective where people hang out and look for answers. You mentioned Facebook. There's several different good Facebook groups to get involved in. I noticed Reddit, is a great resource as well. Typically for questions and answers. And then there's a lot of podcasts that are focused on the IT services business, like yours. And we actually just launched one a couple of weeks ago called MSP Voice, where, we're talking to MSPs about their business and, any advice they have for people, who are in the business and have some questions, or who think they might just be wanting to get started. So it's basically just about hearing from that IT services business, managed services business people to help people get to know each other.
Right. So that's kind of leading into my next question, which is what are the benefits of joining a community? Because we only have so much time, right?
Yep.
In the day, and and we're focused on growing our business and building our business and getting clients and marketing and then, fixing the computers or doing the consulting. I can hear people listening to this saying, no, ain't nobody got time for that. I don't have time to be sitting there, chatting with other people or whatever. So talk to me a little bit about what you've seen, some of the tangible benefits of being parts of these communities are.
Yeah, so it definitely is a balance, right? You can't just sit on Twitter and Facebook all day. You've got to. Yeah, it is, but you have to disconnect to a certain extent. But from a business perspective, if you're coming in from the technical side, being part of that community can definitely help, especially if you have questions. If you're looking at a new voice over IP solution, you can ask the community for help. Saying, "Hey, what's worked for you? What hasn't?" So that there's that type of request. But then also from a friendship and kind of camaraderie basis, you might meet someone online. You communicate a couple of times, and then you go to an event. Whether it's an industry trade show for one of the vendors, something like ASCII or Robin Robbins, one of those types of things, and you go to it, and then you actually meet the people in person, and you realize, hey, we share common interest, and you become friends. Whether it's let's go out and have a beer together, or go to dinner, or whatever. Right. You kind of find that you have some common interest because you're in the same business. You may not live down the street from each other, but guess what? It's when you go to events, you're like, hey, I liked hanging out with you at the last event. Let's meet up again. So you form these relationships, and at the end of the day, that really is what it's about in the terms of the tech side in the community. The other side.
Oh, go ahead. Keep going.
No, I was going to say in terms of growing your business, though, that's where it gets to be a little bit more local. And we talk about community. There's different communities. There's the tech side with other MSPs and your peers. But then there's, okay, how do I use this to grow my business? And that's typically getting more involved at the local level, joining your chamber of commerce or finding out, different networking groups that you can go to, those types of things. Even, I talked to one of our customers last week on the podcast, and, one of the things that he does is he actually goes out to not-for-profits that do things that are near and dear to his heart. And he goes out to them and helps them, which, nice. He knows that, hey, it's not the most money, but he feels good because he's doing something for things that he feels are important to him. And then that word of mouth kicks in, because a lot of people at not-for-profits, they have spouses that work on the commercial side or, something else. Right. And, that can help grow your business. So I thought that angle of his on just working with some of the local not-for-profits that interest him was a really, really great idea.
That's a great idea. And it definitely opened some doors. And so, one thing you said earlier was great. And I think that's a good point that not a lot of people think about. And that is, being a member of these communities make going to these in-person events so much easier, because I think a lot of us can relate to, going to a network event, not knowing anybody, and just kind of sitting in the corner because we're all kind of introverted by nature, and we don't know how to break the ice with anybody. Whereas if you're a member of these online communities, you can, it's much easier to break the ice and get to know people. And then all of a sudden, when you're at these in-person events, and this has happened, in the Facebook groups I'm in the LinkedIn groups and stuff, someone will say, hey, who's going to such and such event? And then a bunch of people raise their hand and they're like, okay, great, let's, meet up for drinks or something afterwards. And it just makes those events so much more meaningful and comfortable.
Yep.
Because I mean, personally, the biggest kind of mindset shifts and corners I've turned in my business have all been a result of meeting people in person and having a one-on-one or really getting to know someone, and then giving me a gem or hearing someone speak. So I think being in the community can help encourage people then to get out and join these live events. So I think that's a perfect kind of synergy there.
Yeah.
And then as far as the marketing side, I mean, I think talk a little bit about some of the, you said Chamber of Commerce, you said volunteer organizations. Are there any other places? And maybe even you could talk about what your thoughts are on maybe starting your own kind of event But as far as like helping your business and helping to market your own business.
Yeah. So first off, I will caution you on starting your own event, unless you have some capital to put into it, or you have a venue and you have a big list of people that you can invite. It can be very difficult to kind of start your own event. So just I lay a little caution there to don't get too excited about trying to do that. But every community, every area has so many different groups that meet together. One of your previous guests, talked about speaking at some of these events. That's a great way to attract customers. Become the local expert. And maybe if you go to an event and you speak at it and they like what you said, maybe you'll get invited to a different group because someone in the audience said, "Wow, that guy really knows what he's talking about. Let's have him at our next event that we have." So it all goes back to word of mouth, because that's right. At the end of the day, that's the most effective marketing. But unless you're out there, unless people know you and see you, word of mouth isn't going to work. So you obviously need to be good with your customers so that they refer you to their friends. But like I said, these other things where you just go out and get to meet people in your community, different community leaders and different things like that, is a great way. And even Facebook groups, right? Your neighborhood probably has a Facebook group, or right. Maybe on Nextdoor and those types of things. So there's so many different avenues, and it's not about advertising, right? It's not about buying ads and all those types of things, because at the end of the day, it's just another ad, and who cares? I don't read them. But if I'm interacting with someone, maybe I don't even know that they're in the IT services business, but we start interacting because we share a common interest. Right. And then, oh, by the way, what do you do for work? Oh, well, I provide IT services to small businesses in my area. Oh, really? I have a small business. I would love to talk to you about maybe having you come in and manage my IT. Right. So it can really morph into so many different ways.
Yeah, and again, that's kind of all about the initial ice break, right? With an ad, you get right in front of someone and saying, "Hey, buy my stuff." Whereas with these community groups and stuff, you get in there, you show that you're helpful. You might get to know someone around another topic first, and then it slowly can morph into, if they're interested, into a business relationship.
Yep. And, one of the other things that I will mention too, I know, we're kind of focusing on the community aspect, or, the local aspect, but when we go back to community, don't be afraid of vendors. Salespeople, I understand it. Cold calls, you don't want them. But when you go to these events, if you meet some of the engineers at these companies, they're not there to try to sell you something. Well, they are, but that's not their main goal, right? Their main goal is to impart knowledge on you of their technology. And, just because someone works for a vendor does not mean that they're an evil person. And the other aspect of it, which I think is really interesting, is from a marketing perspective, is what most software companies call influencer marketing. And that is where you find some of your key users, your key customers, your key technology people that love to talk about you. And they create a program around those people. Mm-hmm. So, Microsoft MVPs is a great example, right? And if you've ever heard of the Microsoft MVP community, Cisco Champions is another example. So there's a lot of these influencer marketing groups. And if you get involved in one of those because you love the technology that this company is providing, you're passionate about it, and you get to meet other like-minded individuals, that's another area and another community that you can get involved in. And a lot of times, these influencer marketing programs have perks, more than just a T-shirt. Maybe you get to go on a trip to go to have a meeting with all the other folks that are in the same in that same influencer marketing sphere, and you share your ideas. You get early access to some of the product roadmap and those types of things. So that's why I say don't be afraid of vendors. We're not here to put the hard sell on you every time. Right. We want to hear from you, and we want you to be part of our community as well.
Yeah, I think that's so invaluable, because if you're part of a community of a vendor that you use, first of all, you're already using them, so they're not going to sell you too hard if you're already using their thing. But also, even if you're not using them, or if you are, it's a great place to really get from the horse's mouth, what's going on. A lot of times that's a great place to get kind of side channel support. If you're having an issue and you have a question and there's engineers in the group or whatever, they might be able to help you out. And or you want to know what's on like the product roadmap or something, a lot of times you get access to key people in the company through the communities that you wouldn't otherwise get if you called a support number or something like that.
Exactly.
That's what I've noticed as well. So, we see the value of joining these communities. We kind of have a good idea of what different types of communities are. So let's say we want to join some of these communities. What can we do as community members to be a good community member? Should we be asking a lot of questions? Should we be answering a lot of questions? Should we be lurking and not doing anything? What are some ideas of how to get the most out of the community?
Yeah, so it's a great question, and I always advise lurk first because you're not going to be able to just jump in there and everyone's going to recognize you and you're the instant expert. Right. You want to lurk. You want to understand, wherever it is, if it's a Facebook group or a Reddit forum or whatever, that, what types of things are people talking about, and, get a kind of understanding of how the flow goes and who the key people are that are answering all the time.
Because every community kind of has its own personality, right?
Exactly.
And there's a vibe to it, and you kind of have to feel it out first.
Yeah, and you don't want to just jump in there and everybody's like jumps on you because you did something wrong. You didn't know it because you didn't know the unwritten rules. So, like I said, lurk first, and then as you kind of understand how it works and how it's evolving, then start joining in. A lot of times it's questions. If you know the answer, jump in and provide an answer or an experience, right? If you have an experience with a particular vendor, whether positive or negative, share that experience because that's what other community members are looking for. And as you participate more, most of these things have reputation systems. Your reputation will increase, and then you'll start to become, known as one of the experts or key community members that people can go to and trust. So it's not a fast process. It takes time. Don't expect to just jump in and have everyone say, "Oh, you're that guy." Yeah, it's going to take a while.
Right. Okay, great. Yeah, I think that's great advice. And one of my pet peeves of these groups is sometimes, someone will get in there and they have like an ancillary product or something that they're trying to pitch, and so they get in right away and they start talking up their thing, and people sniff that out right away. And they tend to push those guys out. But yeah, other than that, I think you're right on the money. Lurk for a little while and then be as helpful as you can. And then you'll learn a lot just by being helpful. I find I learn a lot because people are more willing to help me out if I'm being helpful myself. So other than Cloudberry, which we'll get into in a minute, what are some other communities that you like that are in the industry that are worth joining?
Well, like I said, the Reddit online community I think is great. The MSP subreddit is really good. A lot of great questions, a lot of great answers. People participating in there. We mentioned the Facebook groups. The other thing is, and you may not think of it as community because it's more broadcast, but it is the podcasts. A lot of the podcasts, like yours, you have interaction when you do the Facebook Live, so you can participate that way. Others are kind of like that as well. Some do YouTube Live and stuff. So there are ways to interact in terms of some of these broadcast type mechanisms too. And if you're listening to a podcast, usually they're always looking for guests. So if you say, "Hey, I listened to your podcast, I really like it. I'd like to be a guest on it someday," right? Then you can start participating. And now, guess what? Now that whole listener base now knows who you are, and you can tell them where you hang out, what your handles are, and the different social media aspects. And it's another way to meet and greet people. So don't discount all these different avenues and ways to get your name out there.
Right, and I've seen that firsthand with this podcast. Is there's so many indirect ways this podcast has benefited me and my business, where just getting your name out there, getting awareness of what you do, as a fellow, people who are listening to this, as someone who is an IT provider, an MSP, if you get on as a guest of a show and you have like an expertise in something, whether it's it's the security side or the networking side or something, there's people who are listening who might not be strong in those areas, and you might be able to form a partnership or something. So
exactly.
lots of benefits to just getting yourself out there, and plus it just helps, tying back to our last podcast episode a few weeks ago, with the public speaking, it helps get your public speaking chops up and all of that stuff. So I definitely agree with all of that. Great.
And another community that I've recently become involved with, ASCII. They have a great community. They really they focus on the managed service providers, IT service provider side of the world. They have events. The nice thing about their events is they don't have necessarily one great big one. They have regional ones. So there may be one coming to your area where it's a great chance to meet others and see some presentations from vendors.
Exactly. Great. So I'll have links to all of this stuff that we're mentioning in the show notes. And you can find those at computerbusinessmarketing.com. So why don't you tell us a little bit about Cloudberry and what you guys do there, and then what you, in your role of technical marketing and being involved in these communities, are doing, and how folks can get involved.
Sure. So Cloudberry, in case you haven't heard of us, we provide backup to the cloud. So our managed backup service, we call it MBS for short internally, but our managed backup service is really geared towards managed service providers. It's a SaaS application, so all you need is a web browser, nothing to install. You define your customers, you deploy the backup agents, it backs up. The nice thing is it backs up to the cloud. So we talk about backup, getting that data offsite is extremely important. The cloud is a great place to go offsite. Now, the difference with Cloudberry is we don't own a data center. We never store your data. We just connect you to one of over 30 different cloud storage providers. So you can go to Amazon, you can go to Azure, you can go to Google, you can go to Backblaze, you can go to Wasabi. There's you can do OpenStack if you want to host your own infrastructure. So there's a lot of different options in terms of which cloud storage you go to. And one of the things I talk about is that idea of flexibility, is because you're not locked into a single cloud vendor, you can offer your customers multiple choice. Some may need multi-region, AWS, and that's what they want. Others may be more on the budget, and they don't want to pay, so you can go to a different cloud provider that maybe offers a less costly option, so to speak.
Right.
And they may not have as many features, but you know what? Maybe your customer is so budget conscious that they don't care. But what that allows you to do, but it allows you to kind of, because you have all these different options, it allows you to play with the margins in terms of what you charge your customer. Because you've got your cost, and then you can say, look, I want to make 20%, 30% margin on this service. So then you can kind of base your pricing and factor that in. So it really does allow you to create a sliding scale of what you offer your customers depending on their budget.
Very cool. Yeah, I like that. That flexibility is really key, because especially as you're growing as a business, you start out with customers that might not have the budget to be able to afford some of these more robust solutions, and so you can offer them a very very affordable solution, and then you can grow on the same platform. As you grow your business. You don't have to worry about switching or migrating. You can grow and get a better solution and implement it. So I think I really appreciate solutions that have that flexibility built in like that. Now about the communities, right? What kind of communities does Cloudberry have going on, and how can folks find those?
So I'm fairly new in here. I've only been here since January, so it's kind of a new process, so to speak. But I am hosting a podcast. I mentioned podcasts earlier, so right. MSP Voice. You can find it on our website, or any iTunes and all the different areas where you find podcasts. And the goal of that is not to talk about Cloudberry, but is to talk to managed service providers about their business and have them share their knowledge to other managed service providers, or someone who is just thinking about maybe getting started in that managed services, IT services business. Right. We've all heard the story of the IT person who is frustrated because everybody else, he knows what to do. He thinks he can do it better by himself, and he's always waiting to take the jump to just I'm going to just start doing this myself, go into business for myself, and start to grow a business. That's how so many of these managed service providers get started. Is they just get sick of working for somebody else and decide they want to work for themselves. And if they're smart enough and they got the business savvy, they can become very successful at doing it.
Yeah, it's great to I love podcasts like that where you can hear from people who are in the trenches, who are doing the stuff that you're doing and might be a level or two ahead of you. So you can, hear what they've done, the mistakes they've made so you can avoid them and all of that stuff. Those are definitely make the best podcasts. So I'm looking forward to checking that one out myself, actually. Great. So was there anything else you wanted to leave us with as far as communities? Any other thoughts that you had before we head out?
No, I don't think so. We covered a lot. If anyone's looking for me, I am VM Doug across multiple different communities, whether it's Twitter or Reddit. Doug Hazelman on LinkedIn, Doug Hazelman on Facebook. So from a branding perspective, choose a handle, stick to it, use it. That's what I've done with my VM Doug handle. So I'm pretty easy to find that way. But that's just get out there, get involved.
Love it. Get out there and get involved. Sounds good. And then where can folks find out more about Cloudberry if they're interested?
So cloudberrylab.com. So LAB's cloudberrylab.com is our domain. And then from there's multiple different links. We have a forum that you can join and talk about Cloudberry products or even just ask general questions. I mentioned the podcast, and then you can sign up for our managed backup service for a free trial. You get 15 days free, including 2 gigabytes of storage up on Amazon S3 to test the solution out and see if it'll work for you.
Awesome. Well, great. Thanks for these great tips. I think hopefully this motivates folks to get out there and find some of these communities, participate more. Like we said, the more you participate, the more you get out of it. Exactly. Definitely seek those out. Great, Doug. Thanks for being a guest today. And let's keep in touch and maybe have you back again in the future, see how things are going with Cloudberry down the road.
Sounds good. Thanks a lot, Matt.
All right. Thanks again for Doug Hazelman for the great interview. Now let's go ahead and give a shout out to our last sponsor, and that is Tech Blog Builder. Tech Blog Builder is the blog writing service for IT businesses. This is a service that I've created that allows you to have expertly crafted blog posts that are engaging, that are SEO friendly and SEO optimized, and will convert your visitors into customers. You can have those types of blog posts written for your website blog on a consistent basis. Then you can take those blog posts, turn them in, add them to your newsletter, post them on social media. That one blog post can do lots of different stuff for your business and will allow you to promote your business and provide fresh content for your followers and your customers to continue to provide value for your customers. And, I know not all of us are writers and not all of us have time to write our own blog posts. So if that's you, then definitely check out Tech Blog Builder. We craft 100% unique, SEO optimized and completely customized blog posts written for your business. We keep in mind, what type of business you are, what kind of customers you have, what kind of services you provide, and we use all of that to write a blog post that feels like it's coming from your company. We also make sure it's SEO optimized around keywords that matter to your business, and we also include images in the blog post to make it visually appealing. We'll also create links to different services on your website. So if someone's reading that blog post, they can click on a link in the post to go to one of your services. We also have a call to action at the end of every blog post to remind people to contact you or to purchase your services or to do any number of things. So that is kind of what we do, and we keep it consistent. So, you just have a monthly fee you pay, and we will continue to deliver those blog posts to you, relevant and very effective posts. So if that sounds like something you'd like, check out what we have to offer at techblogbuilder.com. All right, guys. Well, that's going to do it for this episode of the Computer Business Marketing Show. Let's keep the conversation going. Please head on over to computerbusinessmarketing.com. You can sign up for the Computer Business Marketing newsletter there. And you can also leave comments on the show notes page to let us know what you thought about that particular episode. Also, don't forget to join us in the Facebook group. Just go to techsitebuilder.com/group. And that'll take you to the Facebook group for Computer Business Marketing, where you can get all of your marketing questions answered and participate in a great community, bringing back to the topic of this episode. And finally, don't forget to leave a review on iTunes or Stitcher or wherever you listen to this podcast. If you enjoy it, we love to hear your feedback, and every review you leave for us on those platforms will help us to be found by other podcast listeners. Finally, don't forget to check out our sponsors, techreputation.com and techblogbuilder.com. Thank you again for checking out the Computer Business Marketing Show. My name is Matthew Rodella, saying here's to your success.